just another example of domestic violence that's taken a life of this woman, and just tossed away again like a piece of garbage. And she's so much more than that.
A woman is murdered and her body is found in a trash can. Police and prosecutors say her boyfriend is to blame. I have the incredibly sad case of Julie Sanetra and where police caught her boyfriend. Welcome to Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Julie Sanetra had her entire life going for her. She worked as a retail pricing analyst in California, and photos on social media showed her loving life with her dog. But for no reason at all, on October 20th, Orange County prosecutor Todd Spitzer says Sinetra's life came to an end. And as I said, there was no reason. There really never is a reason. The DA says Sanetra and her boyfriend, Daniel Aldrich, got into an argument and he strangled her, slit her wrists, and then watched TV with her body on the couch before he went to bed. The crime happened at Aldrich's house in Costa Mesa, California, south of Los Angeles. And it gets worse. Here's the spokesperson for the DA's office, Kimberly Edds.
The callousness involved in this case is just horrific. I mean, to have your own boyfriend strangle you to death and then slit your wrist and then just leave your body laying there while he continued to go about his normal business, just watching television until he got tired and went to bed. And in the morning decided, oh, I need to do something about this body that's laying on my couch, and then stuff her into a trash can and then take off to his mom's house. It's horrific. No one deserves to be treated like that. I mean, she was just thrown away like a piece of trash. And she's someone who was very, very loved by her family. Um, and it's just horrible.
I'm going to tell you more about how Julie Sinetra's family is remembering her here in just a bit. But first, here's how Julie Sinetra's body was discovered.
The landscapers who were there to mow the lawn are the ones that had to discover this woman's body. They initially thought it was a mannequin or some kind of Halloween decoration. And when they realized that it was actually a human being, they called law enforcement. But I mean, just to have that traumatic event, they're just doing their job, going about their normal everyday business, doing their landscaping duties. And to find a body in a trash can it's just horrible.
It is truly, truly horrible. An investigation started from there. Police tracked Daniel Aldrich to his mother's home in Glendale. Aldrich was taken into custody and charged with murdering Julie Sanetra. Glendale, where Aldrich's mother's home is located, is about an hour drive north of Costa Mesa, where police said Aldrich murdered Sanetra during that argument. The two had been drinking, according to the DA. Aldrich's mother just happens to be a well-known sculptor in the Los Angeles area. He's seen here with her, his brother, and former sister-in-law at an art center event in 2013. Meanwhile, Julie Sinetra's mother told the Orange County Register that her oldest daughter was a sweetheart who loved dogs. Ann Booth said she spoke to her daughter every day and is trying to come to terms with the fact that she will never see her again. Booth also told the website that she had no idea who Daniel Aldrich was. Aldrich is in the Orange County Jail facing a murder charge with an enhancement for using a weapon. Orange County District Attorney Todd Spitzer said in a statement, Julie Sanetra did not deserve to be strangled and stuffed into a trash can like a piece of garbage. The callousness of this crime shocks the conscience, and we will do everything to get justice for Julie and her loved ones.
He's currently being held on in lieu of $1 million bail, and then we'll just the next court hearing will be a pretrial hearing on the evidence. And I think this is something. This is just a reminder of how domestic violence can end up in such a tragic way of it. I mean, this woman's 38 years old, and like I said, is very, very loved by her family, who apparently didn't even know who this person was, didn't know. There was no connection between the family and Aldrich. But I mean, it's just another example of domestic violence that's taken a life of this woman, and just tossed away again like a piece of garbage. And she's so much more than that.
The stories I cover each day here on Crime Fix show you just how scary the world can be. And one of the scariest things that can happen is if you ever get hurt. But I want you to know, if you're ever seriously hurt or in an accident, your case could be worth millions. That's where our sponsor, Morgan & Morgan, comes in. The firm has an army of more than 1,000 attorneys who will fight for what you deserve, and they have the track record to prove it. In the past few months, Morgan & Morgan won verdicts like $12 million in Florida, $26 million in Philly, and $6.8 million in New York. All of those were much higher than the highest insurance company offer. Seeing if you have a case can be done in 8 clicks or less, and you don't even have to leave your couch to start one. Also, a really great thing, you only pay Morgan & Morgan if you win. There are no upfront fees. So if you're ever hurt, you can easily start a claim at forthepeople.com/crimefix. So to talk about this really disturbing case, I want to bring in Adante Pointer. He's a legal analyst and he's a lawyer out in California. Your first thoughts on this case, Adante?
This is just one of those things where you get so just caught up with the emotion as it relates to you wondering what this young lady went through. You know, she obviously was killed, but I'd imagine there was probably more torment that led up to this than what we know about currently.
The details we do know, you're right, are really sad and startling. She was strangled, according to the DA. Her wrists were slit. And then Daniel Aldrich, according to the DA, sat on the couch with her body watching television. And then he goes to bed and apparently wakes up. And this is all according to the DA, and then puts this poor woman in a trash can. I mean, the landscapers thought she was a mannequin, like a
Mm.
Halloween mannequin or something. So he then, according to the DA, takes off for his mom's house and they catch up with him there. This obviously doesn't seem like something that was well thought out.
Well, to me, it sounds like, without me having a clinical diagnosis, the thoughts and the actions of a psychopath to be able to kill your mate and then allow her to sit there on the couch while you leisurely and cavalierly watch TV while she's bleeding, and to see that, go to bed and then wake up the next day and think that it's a bright idea to throw her body away in the dumpster like she's trash. And then you're a coward on top of that to run to mommy's house for safety. It's just outrageous, and I'm glad the law caught up with him.
What's really sad to me is the fact that Julie Sanetra, the victim in this case, her mother told the Orange County Register that she talked to her daughter every day. She didn't even know about this guy. So we don't really know how long they had been together, how long they had been dating. This could have been a fairly new relationship. And this unfolds. But the spokesperson for the DA's office did bring up a lot the term domestic violence. So this was obviously a dating relationship. And when I think about domestic violence, I mean, I think about that as something that's probably happened before. They didn't really go into detail and wouldn't elaborate on that. So, they're categorizing this as a domestic violence homicide.
Mm.
So mom doesn't know about Daniel Aldrich, doesn't know her daughter is even dating this guy. And then this happens. How stunning is that?
I can only imagine the ball of emotions this mother is feeling. To have her daughter taken from her in such a gruesome way by someone that to her is a complete stranger and apparently not so important enough that her daughter told her about him, or perhaps someone who was so frightening that the daughter was afraid to talk to her mother about. Either way, it's a tragic loss of life. This family has been totally destroyed, and I'm sure that mother will be the first one in the courtroom seeking justice.
Yeah, most certainly. She said she's trying to come to terms with the fact that she's never going to see her daughter again. It's absolutely heartbreaking. Let's look at this from the other side now. How do you defend this case? How do you defend this case? I mean, this guy, according to the DA, commits this crime, stuffs her. I don't know if he stuffed her, but he puts Julie in the garbage can and then takes off for his mom's house, where the cops catch up with him fairly quickly and they take him into custody. We don't know if he made any statements. They're not telling us that, but obviously they know enough to know there was an argument that took place. So it makes me think that he maybe did say something. What do you do to defend this case? How do you handle this?
Yeah, well, I think it's one of these cases where you're looking for either some type of momentary or temporary insanity defense or heat of passion. But for either one, you're going to have to try to work from the moment the crime happened and go backwards to try to justify the defense you want to use going forward. And what I mean by that is, if you're talking about some type of heat of passion argument or something like that, he's going to have to tell the officers and tell a court and tell a jury what that argument was about and what took place. Either she came at me with some type of weapon and I responded to that, or it was temporary insanity. Maybe we were doing drugs. Maybe I have a history of mental health problems. You're going to be reaching for something because as the record stands, even though it may not be premeditated murder, it's close enough and the DA could certainly try to go that way.
Yeah, it just heat of passion though. I feel like you don't really see many of those cases being argued successfully in a courtroom because I mean it needs to be a pretty significant thing that sparks a significant event that sparks the reaction to act in that way. And we're talking about somebody accused of strangling somebody and then slitting the wrists and sitting on the couch and watching TV. So I can't even imagine. I mean, can you imagine what that would be that would spark a heat of passion defense? I mean, how do you successfully argue that?
Well, as you mentioned, in order to successfully argue a heat of passion defense, you would have to have some type of act, some type of disagreement that rose to the level that your common, ordinary juror, everyday citizen would say, if I found myself in that situation, I might too take a leave of my senses and respond in a violent way. However, as you pointed out, the fact that the man was sitting there on the couch watching TV, just very leisurely while his girlfriend bled out, counters that. So as I said, you're thinking about a defense. You may have different defenses. It doesn't mean they're a winning defense. You can have an argument. It doesn't mean it's the winning or the prevailing or the most persuasive argument, but you're forced to defend. And so perhaps this is a case where, as opposed to looking at defending the case, you're trying to figure out how you can work out a plea bargain and the best deal possible for your client.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how this ends up. He is being held in lieu of $1 million bail. I don't think he is going anywhere anytime soon. Adante Pointer, thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on as always.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it for this episode of Crime Fix. I'm Angenette Levy. Thanks so much for being with me. I'll see you back here next time.